Prince Harry's ultimate shame as he puts the Kardashians before the veterans who he claims to care most about.
You're lying, Meghan Markle. I mean, it just shows us what the Sussexes have been reduced to, unapologetically tacky. How pathetic and disappointing their priorities currently are.
Looks like Meghan Markle married Prince Harry not for him, not to serve the British people, but to serve herself and the access she always wanted to indulge in, the fame and the attention she always wanted to indulge in, but could never achieve on her own. Meghan Markle did not get an invite to that party. Prince Harry with Meghan Markle got an invite to that party. They're inviting him because of Harry.
As for Miss Markle, we know that she didn't wear a poppy on purpose.
Well, Meghan's upset plenty of people and possibly embarrassed Prince Harry by not wearing a poppy alongside her husband at Kris Jenner's 70th birthday party.
They are so déclassé and tacky, these two.
Extraordinary optics, given Harry claims, and remember he wrote that personal note last week saying he cares nothing more, Brittany, than the British veterans. And then on our most important day, Remembrance Sunday, he goes to a tacky party with the Kardashians. He can't even bother to procure his disrespectful wife a goddamn poppy. It's a stinky new lie.
And that was all intentional.
It was the worst thing that Meghan and Harry could have done. It just shows how disconnected they are from not only the public, the Remembrance Day, the people of the UK, but also from themselves, from each other. They are very disconnected from each other. She wants one thing, he wants another. And every time they step out here, him looking miserable and her looking so happy. It's very difficult. It's a hard one.
Interesting how Harry finds no fault in their cooperation or their cooperating with the media. But when he claims his family does the same thing, it's simply unforgivable. We have to write a book. We have to do a Netflix series about it.
Meghan and Harry proved they're still the ultimate uninvited guests.
Kris Jenner's post on Instagram immediately after the party. I think there are the maximum of 20 pictures in this slideshow. She made the mix, not one glimpse of the royal couple. Because the reality is that in Hollywood, they're not royalty anymore. They're on the D list. So they may get the invite, but they're not on the Snoop Dogg or Oprah Winfrey level.
She looked so respectful and pensive. And of course, we bring you these incredible visuals of Catherine honoring the patriotic and deceased in jarring comparison to Meghan Markle hitting up a Kardashian bash.
Meghan always thought that she was a media master manipulator.
And you can see it in the paparazzi footage as Prince Harry leaves this event, is that he's not happy about it.
You are the human sacrifice, you dummy.
And I also have no sympathy, if we just come back to me here, for Ms. Markle refusing to wear one of these because she knows how to get them. This was purposeful.
It was supposed to be the night that proved Meghan Markle finally belonged among Hollywood's elite.
The royal family are meant to honor the fallen on a solemn Remembrance Weekend in the UK, but the dumb, traitorous Prince Harry and his grinning wannabe instead chose to honor a Kardashian 5,000 miles away. No interest in duty, just tacky fame.
A billionaire mansion, a red carpet guest list, and the Kardashian family front and center.
The jarring contrast between those images we're seeing out of the UK of the royal family honoring the dead, honoring the heroes, versus Harry and Meghan keeping up with the Kardashians. It is unreal.
But instead, it became one of the most humiliating moments of her entire career.
Kim Kardashian deleted her photo with Meghan Markle. Kim K still has that X tape out online, but Meghan Markle was the line.
At first, everything looked perfect. Cameras flashed.
And she is beaming. She is beaming like this is the biggest moment of her life. Save her wedding.
Meghan smiled beside Kim Kardashian at Kris Jenner's extravagant 70th birthday party. It was the kind of image her PR team dreams about. The Duchess of Sussex blending effortlessly into America's most famous dynasty. Only that photo wouldn't last, because just hours later, Kim Kardashian quietly deleted Meghan from her post.
Harry, with a face like thunder, wearing his Remembrance Day poppy, which I'm sorry, not appropriate for the event.
The same woman whose entire empire began with a scandal decided Meghan Markle was too toxic for her brand.
That's a statement, man. That is a damn statement.
No statement, no explanation, just gone. And in Hollywood, silence speaks louder than any headline.
In a world of celebrity PR, silence and omission can be just as calculated as a post, and the silence from Kris Jenner speaks volumes here.
People noticed instantly. Wait, where did Meghan go? Why did Kim erase her? Was it pressure from Kris Jenner? Was it a royal phone call warning them off? Or was it simply because Meghan and Harry weren't even supposed to be there in the first place?
Also, were they even actually invited to that party?
Yes. According to insiders, the Sussexes weren't on the guest list at all.
But there was one problem. They weren't on the official guest list.
They arrived hand in hand, smiling for 10 minutes, then vanished before the music even started. And what's worse, this happened on the eve of Remembrance Sunday, the weekend when the royal family honors fallen soldiers. While King Charles was holding back tears in London, his son was posing for cameras at a billionaire's mansion in Beverly Hills.
Prince Harry's ultimate shame as he puts the Kardashians before the veterans who he claims to care most about.
And then came the body language experts, zooming in on Harry's face, the forced smile, the empty stare, while Meghan glowed for the cameras. He looked like a man trapped in someone else's spotlight.
Body language between these two is now just abundantly clear, knowing the narcissist posted, "Miserable man and rictus grinning narcissist attend birthday party, one bored, the other fueled."
This wasn't just a deleted photo. It was a warning sign that even in the city that worships fame, Meghan and Harry may have finally run out of it. Because when the Kardashians erase you, you're not trending, you're finished.
The karma here is just so thickly ironic.
But how did it all unravel so fast? Who invited them? And what really happened inside Kris Jenner's party before the photo disappeared? Stay tuned, because tonight we're breaking down the uninvited entrance, the silent deletion, and the backlash that could end Meghan Markle's Hollywood dream once and for all. The invitation list for Kris Jenner's 70th birthday wasn't just exclusive, it was legendary. The venue, Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez's $175 million mansion in Beverly Hills. The theme, James Bond, black tuxedos, gowns glittering under laser lights, martinis and crystal glasses, a string quartet playing as drones hovered overhead. It was the kind of night Hollywood dreams about, a celebration of power, money, and flawless PR. Everyone who was anyone was there.
A party like this being so tacky that the police end up coming on a day where Prince Harry knew the optics were going to look so terrible for him.
Kim, Kourtney, Kendall, Paris, and Nikki Hilton, Justin Bieber, Snoop Dogg, Mariah Carey, Mark Zuckerberg, even Oprah. But what no one expected was the arrival of the Sussexes. According to multiple insiders, Harry and Meghan were not on the official guest list, not in the emails, not on the security clipboard, nothing. Yet somehow, shortly after 10 p.m., their black SUV rolled through the gates like they belonged there.
People were whispering, "Who brought the Sussexes?" One attendee laughs. I'm sure they didn't even say that. Who brought Meghan and Harry here? It was giving mystery plus security breach.
Witnesses said the room went quiet for a moment. Photographers turned, heads tilted. Even Kris Jenner looked confused. Who brought them? One guest was heard whispering. It was a social miracle or a publicity invasion, depending on whom you ask.
They just came for the photo op. They showed up so they could get some press, some hits to show that they're relevant. Look.
Some believe they tagged along with Serena Williams, who attended earlier that evening. Others swear Meghan's team found a way to slip them in through connections on the media side. However it happened, they were there, and the whole night changed. Harry was in a black tux with a velvet blazer, a style his brother Prince William had recently worn at the Earthshot Prize in Rio. It looked like another attempt to mirror the royal image he claimed to have left behind. Meghan, meanwhile, wore a sleek purple gown, a shade no accidentally chosen. It was the same color the Queen used to wear for official Jubilee appearances. Royal symbolism at a Hollywood party. They moved through the room like a photo op come to life. Quick smiles, posed shots, then swift exits. Observers say they spent no more than 10 minutes inside. They arrived, mingled just enough to be seen, and disappeared before the music started, one guest said.
Leaving within 10 minutes proves that to me even more so. Because they knew.
And that's where the story takes a strange turn. No one knows who actually invited them. Not Kris, not Kim, not Bezos. Everyone assumed someone else did. It was like Hollywood's most expensive game of who sent the Sussexes.
Even megastars like Oprah and Kim K swore they didn't extend the invite.
The mood was already tense. Meghan posed for a few photos with Kim Kardashian and Jeff Bezos' partner Lauren Sanchez. Harry stood in the background talking to someone off camera, barely smiling. To anyone watching, it looked awkward, forced, like they were guests at a wedding they weren't supposed to attend.
Prince Harry seems fed up of being paraded and unable to stage a rictus grin as he and populous Meghan visit Kris Jenner's 70th on the eve of Remembrance Sunday.
But to Meghan, this was an opportunity. Hollywood runs on images, and one photo with the Kardashians could mean relevance restored, Netflix buzz, and tabloid credibility. The plan was simple: get seen, get tagged, get trending. Except that plan collapsed before midnight.
Shocker, Meghan Markle. Desperate move.
When the party ended and Kim Kardashian uploaded her carousel of birthday photos, the image with Meghan and Harry was there, briefly. Then, without warning, it was gone. Fans noticed immediately. Within hours, blogs picked it up. Screenshots circulated online. PR analysts called it a digital snub of royal proportions. Because in celebrity culture, getting deleted is the modern form of banishment. You don't get blocked, you get erased. And that one action sparked a bigger question. If Meghan and Harry weren't officially invited, what else were they doing in the background of Hollywood power? Were they just desperate to stay relevant, or did they miscalculate their own celebrity status?
The whole thing, according to Nancy, was just one big publicity stunt. The Kardashians don't have the same pull they once did. Their Hulu show has tanked, and this feels like their latest attempt to stay relevant and grab attention.
Because after that night, something changed. Even the Kardashians, famous for embracing drama, didn't want the Sussex headache. And when Hollywood's first family distances itself from you, the message is clear. You're not a headline, you're a hazard.
Not one glimpse of the royal couple. Because the reality is that in Hollywood, they're not royalty anymore. They're on the D list.
But why would Kim risk deleting such a photo? Was it pressure from her mother Kris, a call from London, or something even more calculated? Whatever the reason, the moment Meghan was erased from that post, the story spread like fire. And it wasn't just a Hollywood drama anymore. It was a royal disaster. Because as Kim was quietly hitting delete, King Charles was across the ocean, fighting back tears during the Remembrance ceremony. A contrast so stark it became front-page news. And that's when the backlash began. Not from the press, but from the public. Because while the royals were honoring sacrifice, Meghan and Harry were posing for spotlights. And the world noticed. For Meghan Markle, the real disaster didn't happen under the chandeliers of Jeff Bezos' mansion. It happened hours later on Instagram. At first, Kim Kardashian's photo dump looked like any other post. A perfectly curated carousel celebrating her mother Kris Jenner's 70th birthday. Everyone made the cut. Mariah Carey, Snoop Dogg, Paris Hilton, Oprah, Jeff and Lauren Bezos, even Mark Zuckerberg lurking in the background. But one name was missing. The Duchess of Sussex. In the early version of Kim's post, Meghan was there, smiling beside Kim in that purple gown, Harry standing just behind her. But within hours, that image disappeared. No caption change, no edit announcement, no statement, just gone. The message was clear. In Hollywood, a deletion is not an accident. Branding experts immediately weighed in. Every frame, every tag, every caption is part of the family strategy. If Meghan was removed, it's because they wanted distance. And that distance spoke louder than any royal scandal could. The Kardashians, a family who made their name from drama, decided Meghan Markle was bad for business.
Oiled up reality stars, the likes of, Kyle Richards from Beverly Hills, Real Housewives, or Kim, spilling out of her skin-tight dress, fresh off having failed the bar and the worst reviewed streaming show in modern history, 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Online, the reaction was brutal. Comment sections exploded with mockery and disbelief. Even Kim K doesn't want her. Deleted by a Kardashian, that's when you know it's over. The woman who built fame on scandal just rejected Meghan Markle. That says it all. Within hours, Meghan Deleted started trending on X, formerly Twitter. Clips of the missing photo flooded Reddit and TikTok. Every influencer and gossip account had a theory. Was it Kris's decision? Did Kim get a call from Buckingham Palace warning her to stay neutral? Or was it something simpler, that even the Kardashians saw Meghan as a liability?
The Kardashians have been selling family secrets to the media for years. Kris Jenner, the last 48 hours, Kris Jenner's birthday, Kylie Jenner's cat, Kim Kardashian's failed bar exam. They have the media on speed dial.
Because behind the scenes, Kris Jenner had already been accused of quietly snubbing Meghan. Her own birthday speech thanked family and friends who've been there from the start. But the Sussexes, not a word, not a photo. In an industry built on alliances and image, omission is rejection. And this time, Meghan wasn't just excluded from a family, she was erased from a narrative. But the damage went far beyond Hollywood gossip. because the timing of that post couldn't have been worse. While Meghan was being deleted online, King Charles was standing before the cenotaph in London, tears in his eyes, honoring veterans on Remembrance Sunday. At that exact moment, the British press published headlines side by side. King Charles weeps for the fallen. Prince Harry parties with Kardashians in Beverly Hills.
I just call complete BS on that. And when it comes to this party and comparing it to the actual working royals, all you can think is excess and versus service.
It was a contrast no PR team could spin away. Royal reporters called it the ultimate shame. Harry, once the soldier prince, the man who founded the Invictus Games, the champion of veterans, now photographed smiling beside reality stars while the king paid tribute to the war dead. And if that wasn't enough, Meghan's missing poppy made it worse.
Ms. Markle refusing to wear one of these because she knows how to get them. This was purposeful.
She didn't wear the remembrance symbol on her gown. When asked why, sources close to her told the Daily Mail that poppies aren't widely available in the US. But that excuse didn't hold, because in past years, she had managed to find one every time. Critics called it disrespectful, intentional, even a snub to the crown. And on social media, the outrage doubled. She can find red carpet gowns, but not a poppy? Harry wore one. She refused. That tells you everything. What started as a Hollywood humiliation had now become a royal scandal. And the narrative spreading online was brutal. Harry and Meghan weren't just irrelevant, they were ungrateful. Trading duty for fame, honor for Instagram. Even Harry's expression in the paparazzi photos became part of the story. As Meghan smiled, he looked tense, almost uncomfortable. Commentators said he appeared defeated, lost, like a man realizing too late the cost of fame.
Harry claims to hate it, and yet he goes along with it, proving that Harry has really no pull or say in that relationship.
And as the world dissected every deleted frame, experts began comparing the two couples, the old royalty and the new. While King Charles wept in London, Prince George stood proudly beside him, the future of the monarchy, disciplined, respectful, prepared. Meanwhile, Harry, once the proud veteran, was the man in the wrong room, the wrong crowd, the wrong moment. Every frame told the story. One family remembered history, the other chased headlines. But perhaps the most cutting reaction came from within Hollywood itself.
I feel like the Sussexes are kind of throwing mud at the wall to see what sticks. Like at this point, it's just getting kind of silly.
Even industry insiders whispered that Meghan's obsession with control and constant PR had made her radioactive. As one producer told Variety, "You can't be everywhere all the time and still pretend you're private. People are tired of the show." And that, in the end, is the cruel irony. Meghan Markle came to Hollywood to prove she didn't need the royal family. But the night she stood beside the Kardashians, she proved she couldn't escape the comparison. Because when Kim Kardashian, the queen of reinvention, deletes you, that's not just a lost photo. That's Hollywood saying, "You don't belong here anymore."
Everything she has done has blown up in her face. Everything.
But the deletion was just the beginning, because within hours, royal insiders were already calling it Harry's lowest moment, the night he put the Kardashians before the veterans. And what happened next pushed the couple into full damage control mode. As the lights dimmed in Beverly Hills, another scene was unfolding, 5,000 miles away. Colder, quieter, and far more powerful. In London, King Charles stood before the cenotaph, his eyes glistening as he laid a wreath in silence. Beside him, Queen Camilla bowed her head. Behind them, Prince William and Princess Catherine stood solemnly, holding hands with their son, Prince George, the next generation of the monarchy. For Britain, it was one of the most sacred moments of the year, Remembrance Sunday, honoring those who gave their lives in war. For Prince Harry, once the military's golden boy, it was supposed to be the same. Instead, he was at a billionaire's party in California, surrounded by champagne, designer dresses, and flashing lights. The contrast was brutal. British papers called it the tale of two princes, one honoring sacrifice, the other chasing celebrity.
And you're just so thoroughly disappointed in Prince Harry.
Even loyal supporters couldn't defend it. He abandoned his brothers in arms, one veteran wrote. Harry says he cares about service, but he chose selfies over soldiers. The Daily Mail labeled it Prince Harry's ultimate shame. And for once, even some of his defenders agreed. Because Harry wasn't just missing the event. He was photographed doing the exact opposite of what that day stands for. And next to him, Meghan, glowing for the cameras without a single poppy in sight. That detail became a lightning rod. Her team claimed poppies aren't widely available in the US, but the internet didn't buy quiet. People remembered every past year she had found one, even while traveling. Royal watchers saw it as deliberate, a silent act of defiance against tradition. She knew what weekend it was, one commentator said. She always knows. Nothing Meghan does is unplanned. And the symbolism hit hard. King Charles wearing his medals, holding back tears. Prince Harry wearing a velvet jacket, holding a cocktail.
He goes to a tacky party with the Kardashians. He can't even bother to procure his disrespectful wife a goddamn poppy. It's a stinking new low.
The timing could not have been worse. Back in London, the cameras caught something rare, the king visibly emotional. As the orchestra played We'll Meet Again, his face softened, his lips trembling slightly. The image of a monarch confronting mortality and legacy. For the British public, it was a moving reminder of service and continuity. For Harry, it became a haunting mirror of everything he left behind. Commentators like Dan Wooten summed it up with one line. While the king wept for heroes, his son posed with Kardashians. And just like that, Harry's long-cultivated veteran hero image crumbled overnight. This was supposed to be his identity, the Invictus Games founder, the soldier who served in Afghanistan, the prince who said duty still mattered even after leaving the palace. But how can you preach duty from a Beverly Hills party? Body language analysts pored over the footage.
Forces Harry to parade himself around the paparazzis when he's previously said that it's PTSD for him to see those camera flashes.
Harry's posture, stiff and uneasy, his eyes darting toward the floor. Even in still photos, he looked detached, like a man realizing he'd crossed a line he couldn't uncross. Meghan, meanwhile, seemed unfazed, laughing, posing, working the room like a professional. She glowed for every camera. He looked like he wanted to disappear. You can see it in the footage, one expert said. Meghan's energy is all performance. Harry's is guilt. And that guilt only deepened when the British coverage aired side by side. One screen showing the royal family in solemn silence, the other showing the Sussexes leaving a party in the Hollywood Hills. The split screen told the story better than any commentary could. One world built on tradition and sacrifice. The other, vanity and self-promotion. And what made it even more ironic, Harry had just returned from a trip to Canada promoting his Invictus Initiative, a project dedicated to wounded veterans. He gave speeches about honor, service, and remembering those who serve. Then, days later, he's photographed at a celebrity bash while his father honors the fallen. Critics called it hypocrisy at its most painful. Even sympathetic outlets couldn't spin it.
Harry undermined his entire tour with Canada by going to that Kardashian party. It's like, does he care at all about the work he's doing?
Meanwhile, Meghan's PR team quietly tried to bury the story, pushing lighthearted press about her upcoming Netflix holiday special. But that backfired too, because the release date reportedly clashed directly with Princess Catherine's televised charity concert. People began calling it royal sabotage. Every time Catherine celebrates something positive, Meghan tries to upstage her, said one insider. The narrative was set. She wasn't celebrating, she was competing. And Harry was collateral damage. In one weekend, their image as independent philanthropists collapsed into a single viral meme, deleted by Kim, disgraced by duty. Even their most loyal fans online couldn't argue. Because while Meghan was chasing camera flashes, King Charles, battling cancer, stood publicly honoring those who gave their lives. It made Harry's absence feel like betrayal, not rebellion.
You're literally accused of elder abuse against your grandmother and grandfather. Like, nice try with the staged photos.
And the public noticed something else, the way the royal family didn't respond. No statement, no mention, just quiet dignity, letting the contrast speak for itself. For years, Harry accused the palace of silence and coldness, but now it was that same silence that made him look small. Because sometimes, the crown doesn't need to clap back. It just needs to stand tall and wait, while those who ran from it burn their own image to ashes. And this time, that's exactly what happened. But as the royal family stood united in London, something else was quietly happening behind the palace walls. A move that might finally change everything for Harry and Meghan. Because whispers say King Charles has had enough. While Harry and Meghan were being dragged through headlines in California, something far more powerful was taking shape in London. A quiet shift inside the monarchy. A moment so symbolic that even royal insiders called it the passing of the torch. It happened at the Festival of Remembrance, inside the Royal Albert Hall. Red velvet seats, 1,000 flickering candles, the orchestra tuning for We'll Meet Again. And among the crowd, a small, serious figure in a dark suit, Prince George. At just 12 years old, he wasn't there by accident. For the first time, George joined King Charles, Queen Camilla, and the Princess of Wales for a royal event of full state importance. To the public, it looked like a proud family moment. But to royal watchers, it was something deeper, the unveiling of the future. Because behind the emotion of that night, one thing became crystal clear. As Harry's reputation collapsed, the next generation was quietly stepping into his place.
But it's like she's combing through Diana, her true story, and just checking boxes. Oprah
100%.
Winfrey interview, panorama, their escape from the palace.
The king looked frail that evening. The illness he's been battling for months was visible now. His skin pale, his movements slower, his expression softer. But when the national anthem began, he stood tall, his grandson just a few feet away. 2 generations, 1 legacy. Every camera captured the contrast. In California, Meghan and Harry posed under neon lights. In London, George sat beside his mother, Princess Catherine, his face solemn and focused, watching the veterans march by. It was the kind of moment that says more than 1,000 speeches ever could. The monarchy wasn't fading. It was evolving, and George was its proof. Even British papers that rarely agree all use the same word: continuity. The heir's heir has arrived, wrote the Times. A dynasty renewed, added the Telegraph. And it wasn't just royal fans who felt the symbolism. It was everyone watching the contrast unfold in real time. While Harry looked like a lost man trying to find purpose in Los Angeles, his nephew looked like a prince born for duty.
But what a great example of their just disloyalty in general, which we do consistently see with both of their families. They are loyal to no one unless you have an opportunity in front of them.
That single image, George sitting upright beside the king, sent a message that echoed across the world. The line is secure. The monarchy stands. And perhaps that's why the emotion hit King Charles so hard. When the orchestra played the final song, the cameras caught him wiping his eyes. A monarch, a father, a grandfather, realizing both the fragility of life and the strength of what he'd built. But what really struck viewers wasn't just the king's emotion. It was the presence of Catherine, her calm, her quiet poise, her black Alexander McQueen dress, and Queen Elizabeth's pearl earrings. Every detail radiated tradition and grace. Even as she battles her own illness privately, she stood tall, guiding her son through the ceremony with that same soft, steady hand the late queen once had. The symbolism was impossible to ignore. The royal family, bruised, criticized, and smaller than ever, was still standing together. Meanwhile, the Sussexes, loud, glamorous, and surrounded by celebrities, looked lonelier than ever. This was the contrast playing out before millions. One side rebuilding legacy, the other side fighting for relevance. And the public could feel it. Commenters flooded social media with side-by-side comparisons. The king cried for his people. Meghan smiled for the cameras. George looks more royal at 12 than Harry does at 40.
You are the human sacrifice, you dummy.
This is the difference between duty and delusion. Even the royal press, usually cautious, began openly discussing the quiet transition, the idea that the monarchy was already preparing for the future. Not because Charles is stepping back, but because he understands something Harry never did, that the crown isn't about attention, it's about endurance. Royal biographer Tom Sykes wrote, "With Charles's visible frailty and William's growing leadership, George's debut wasn't just symbolic. It was deliberate, a signal that the next generation is ready." And that subtle staging, Catherine, Charles, and George in one frame, carried more meaning than any royal speech could. It was unity without words, strength without spectacle. A message to the world that the royal house isn't dying, it's renewing. As the final notes echoed through the hall, the crowd rose to its feet. Veterans in red coats saluted the king. The king nodded, his hand trembling slightly. Beside him, Prince George mirrored the motion. It was quiet, honest, powerful. And somewhere across the ocean, Meghan Markle was trending. Not for her causes, not for her charity, not even for her Netflix projects, but for a deleted photo at a Kardashian party.
I mean, she was, I don't think people would even call her a D-list.
That's the contrast the palace never had to explain. They didn't have to leak, argue, or defend. The images told the story on their own. One family united by service, the other united by scandal. And this is where perception becomes legacy. Because every time Meghan tries to reclaim attention, she reminds the world of what she gave up. Every deleted photo, every PR stunt, every awkward red carpet moment, it all points back to the same truth. She had the crown, but she wanted the camera. And now, the camera has turned away. But behind palace doors, whispers say King Charles isn't finished. After years of restraint, he's finally asked advisors how far he can go, and what it would take to strip Harry and Meghan of their titles once and for all. When the headlines began to fade, the silence grew louder. Harry and Meghan hadn't just lost a photo, they'd lost face. In Hollywood, being deleted is worse than being ignored. It means you've become bad optics. The Kardashians knew it. Netflix knew it. Even Meghan's former allies were starting to whisper it. Behind the polished smiles, the fallout was real. Industry insiders insiders began quietly distancing themselves. One publicist told Page Six, "The problem with Meghan is that every partnership turns into a spectacle. People don't want to be part of her narrative. They want distance. And distance is exactly what she got. The Kardashian circle moved on without her. The tabloids moved on to the next scandal. Even Hollywood, the land of reinvention, seemed to finally decide she's not the story anymore." But across the Atlantic, King Charles was making his own quiet calculations. In the wake of the party debacle, palace insiders say the monarch held a private discussion with senior advisors and members of the Privy Council. The question was delicate but direct. What constitutional options exist regarding titles held by non-working royals? It was the most British way of saying what everyone else was already thinking. Can he take them away?
Yeah, ignore the royal plans. Follow ours now instead.
For months, Charles has tried restraint. He hoped time and dignity would cool the chaos. He stayed silent through the Oprah interview, through the Netflix documentary, through the Spare memoir, through every headline that made the monarchy look like a soap opera. But the image of his son partying with the Kardashians on the eve of Remembrance Sunday may have been the final straw. Because this wasn't just another PR mess. It was disrespect, televised in real time. And the king, weakened but still resolute, reportedly told close aides, "Enough is enough."
Clearly, Meghan Markle is a buzzkill. Otherwise, he would still have relationships with anybody from his old world.
Sources say the discussions weren't about vengeance. They were about preservation. Charles knows that if the public loses faith in the dignity of the crown, the institution itself weakens. And every scandal from California chips away at that image. So now, palace lawyers are said to be reviewing an obscure legal path, one that would allow the crown to redefine how royal titles apply to those no longer serving the monarchy. It's complex, constitutional, and quiet, just the way the palace likes to move. Meanwhile, Harry and Meghan's team are scrambling. Their silence since the party has been deafening. No statements, no denials, only leaks about new projects, desperate attempts to shift the narrative. But even that strategy is faltering. Netflix reportedly isn't thrilled. Spotify's gone. And Hollywood, once the dream escape, has turned into another battlefield. Because when even the Kardashians won't touch your brand, where do you go next? Insiders claim Meghan has been pushing for a new image, more lifestyle, less royal. But the problem is, the world still sees her through the same lens, ambition without authenticity. And Harry, caught in the middle, looks more isolated than ever. One former palace aide summed it up perfectly. The king has his heir, his legacy, and the nation behind him. Harry has a podcast and a velvet blazer. The contrast couldn't be clearer or crueler.
All of her spreads are double the cost of King Charles's jams. He also sells bubble wine, just like her. Her bubble wine is $89 plus $20 for shipping. So it's $109 for bad California.
And as the monarchy quietly moves forward, Harry and Meghan seem stuck in reverse, repeating the same mistakes, chasing the same spotlight, and watching it grow dimmer every time. For the royal family, the message is silent but unmistakable. They've moved on. But for Harry and Meghan, the question now isn't whether they'll lose their titles. It's whether they've already lost something far more valuable: respect. Because in the end, titles can be removed by law, but dignity, that disappears on its own.
They have achieved nothing. They have done nothing. Everything they've touched has basically turned to ruin.
And if you thought this was the end, think again. Because palace insiders say there's already a date circled on King Charles's calendar, a constitutional briefing that could finally decide the future of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. And once that happens, there's no coming back. Stay tuned, because what's coming next may be the final chapter of Meghan Markle's royal downfall.